How it all started. When the kids were 2, 4, and 6 years old, we took out on our first adventure with our pop up camper. We all loved it so much and weren't ready to come home at the end of those 2 weeks. That's when I told JC that I wanted the kids to camp in all 48 states that were continuous before Connor went to college. So we've been working on that adventure ever since. 2 years ago, we had finished those 48 states and camped in each of them. The kids then asked if we could go to Alaska. So the planning for this adventure began. Day 1, we made it to Sioux Falls. Day 2, we started off and we found a couple stops along the way. We stopped at the Corn Palace and Wild Drug. We made it into Wyoming. The campground there had a mini golf course, so the boys played 72 holes. Now we head up into Montana, and our goal for the night is to Glacier National Park. When we pull into Glacier National Park, it is just pouring down rain. We actually were able to camp in the national park this time. You will notice that we are making our own food here. We go to the grocery store before we leave and pack all our food. For lunches, we stop either at a rest area or sometimes just at the gas station. We run back and make sandwiches and eat on the road. And we cook our dinners while we're out. The next morning, we got up and went to going to the Sun Road. It had been open the day before but closed due to all the rain and the mudslides they were worried about. We were able to drive about 13 miles up going to the Sun Road. Towards the top, we stopped at a hike, and we got out and we hiked to St. Mary's Falls. We weren't the only ones out there, even though it was pouring down rain that day. After our hike to St. Mary's Falls, we went to try and find and recreate the picture we had taken in 2014 on our first trip to Glacier. Unfortunately, you weren't allowed to go very far due to bear activity in the area, so we had to stop a little early before we could get the actual spot. They were closing the road because of possible mudslides and the rainy and wet conditions. When we got back to our camper, we looked at the weather and it said 100% chance of rain. So instead of staying in the rain, we decided to pack up and head north to Banff, which is in Canada. We made it to the border of Canada. It wasn't very hard to get through, and they didn't ask too many questions of us. We had made sure that we didn't have anything like citrus and apples that we weren't supposed to take through. Fruits and vegetables aren't allowed to go through. The first thing we had to do when we got through was change our speedometer from miles per hour to kilometers per hour. There were a lot of these over the highway. They were animal crossings, so the animals could get across, and we saw them quite a bit as we were driving. We arrived in Banff, where we stayed inside the national park. Elk roamed freely through the campground. We headed up to Grande Prairie in Alberta, Canada for the night. On our way there, we saw a lot of coal mining and oil mining. Those are the two main jobs we learned in Alberta. When we got to the campground for the evening, JC had to get some work done. The kids were playing games, and I did laundry to catch up from all the wet, rainy clothes that we had.